Round helmets and flared jackets moved among the crowd. The great draw that day was the legendary cricketer W.G. Grace, who at 47 was enjoying an astonishing renaissance. He had just become the first player ever to score 1,000 runs in the opening month of a season and was, according to the Illustrated London News, the most popular man in the British Isles. He would be batting for the Gentlemen, a team composed of well-born men who played for pleasure rather than profit. Their opponents, the players, were professional cricketers, most of them of working-class stock. In theory, the match pitted those who were paid to play against those who were not, though many of the gentlemen were known to benefit handsomely from tours, gifts, and testimonials. Grace was foremost among cricket's shamateurs. Robert and Natty paid a few pennies apiece to gain admittance to the ground, and made for the low roped-off stands to either side of the pitch. The more affluent spectators took their places in the tiered pavilion reserved for members of the Marylebone Cricket Club. It was a clear, hot day, tempered by soft breezes. Just after noon the bell rang, and the gentlemen strode out from the pavilion in their whites to take their places as fielders on the huge swathe of green. The players' first batting pair emerged from their shabbier dressing-room through a side entrance by the stands, which were partly covered with a white awning and backed by a belt of trees. The players had won the toss and elected to bat, as they expected to score well on a pitch hardened by 3 months of drought. But the wicket proved far more volatile than anticipated, and their batsmen performed disappointingly. By 4:40 p.m, they were all out for 231. 20 minutes later, W.G. Grace and Andrew Stoddart opened the innings for the gentlemen. Grace lumbered onto the field in his whites, a tiny red and yellow cap on his big bearded head. It was 30 years almost to the day since he had played in his first Gentlemen v Players match at Lord's. His partner was another cricketing hero, a graceful, spirited batsman, strikingly handsome, with a magnificent moustache. Stoddy had led the English side to victory in the last Test series in Australia, and had recently been honoured with a wax statue at Madame Tussauds Museum in Baker Street. Despite some excellent bowling from the players, Grace and Stoddart were still at the crease 2 hours later, having notched up 137 runs between them. The stumps were pulled at 7 p.m. The two batsmen would continue their innings the next day. The Coombs boys left St. John's Wood at dusk and got back to West Ham after dark. At about 9 p.m, Robert called on Mr. Robertson. He went to the front door of number 37, while Natty waited outside the gate. "I have come back for the change," said Robert. "Is the house all right?" "I expect so," Mr. Robertson replied. "I haven't seen anything." He gave Robert the rent book and 3 shillings in change. The rent for each house in Cave Road was 7 shillings a week, about average for the area, but a sum that would secure only a large room in the centre of London. Once inside their house, the boys did not go to the bedrooms upstairs. Instead, they bedded down in the back parlour. Robert took the sofa and Natty the armchair. They fell asleep in their clothes. The next morning, Robert and Natty set out for Lord's again. Their mother's friend, Amelia England, who lived at number 33, saw them in the street and asked where they were going. Robert replied that they were visiting an aunt in St. John's Wood. He added that their mother was out of town, but he had just received a letter from her in which she had enclosed some money. "Very likely she will be home tomorrow evening," he said. The crowd was even bigger at Lord's on Tuesday, and the weather just as fine. For half an hour before play commenced, the fans streamed out of the trains, cabs, and omnibuses, already perspiring. The gentlemen resumed their innings at 11:30 a.m. Within 15 minutes, Stoddart was bowled out for 71, but Grace kept going. As he neared his 100, the crowd grew excited, and when he made the century, a storm of applause was raised by the spectators and the players alike. It was Grace's 7th century of the season.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.